Baru Taraz. Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to be here. Thank you so much for coming out today. I'd like to give a special shout out to Patricia and Ernesto and everybody else that's been involved with making this great event happen. It's really extraordinary to bring so many amazing people into one location from all across Brazil, but also around the world. And I'm so humbled to be here. So today, I'm going to be talking a little bit about 3 steps, pretty much. The first is the story that's my story, and also the story of FinMan. I'm also then going to be talking about what we do and how we do it. And then I'm going to be talking about opportunity, more specifically about how we find the potential, enhance human potential to find opportunity. So the first thing I'm going to talk about right now is the story, my story. So it all started out when I was a very young kid. Around 8 years old, I became obsessed with money management. I started reading books. I would come home from school from the bus and just start reading and start watching these business shows, shows about money. I was really obsessed with it. Can't really explain why, just something I really felt passionate about at a young age. As I went through middle school and high school, it just kept on growing and growing. And when it really became to the next level was when I was in high school. It was during the 2008 global financial crisis. I literally remember my parents losing half of their net worth in what felt like overnight. So it's something that made me even dig deeper. I became known by my peers in high school as a financial guru, even though I was far from it. I had a lot of my high school teachers even ask me questions about stuff about personal finance. So it was definitely something I was passionate about, and I was so passionate, people recognized it. Then I went to college. And I did a 180-degree switch. I ended up majoring in the sciences, ended up majoring in biology specifically, and I did really well in biology. I'm a really good test taker, I guess. I liked it. I'm a well-rounded student, I guess. I like studying a lot of different subjects. But it was really evident that I wasn't really passionate about it. So I kept on, I did really well in it. Then in my senior year of college, it kind of hit me. I was expected to go to medical school, and then I'm sitting there, how can I do this? I literally pass out in doctor offices. It made no sense for me to go in that. And I even had peers in college still, they knew me as the finance person, the personal finance person. So I ended up switching courses again. I did another 180-degree switch back to where I needed to be. So I went to grad school for financial economics. And this is where the story of FinMan comes about. So there was a class called Financial Management. This was my first classes in grad school. And literally in the first day of class, the professor started ranting. Financial literacy, financial inclusion, it's the crisis of our lifetime that nobody knows about. So I raised my hand and I asked the question. I'm one of those really students that asks way too many questions that a lot of people find annoying probably. That was me. So I raised my hand and I said, what's the solution? What are people doing to effectively solve this problem? And the professor went like this. He's one of my mentors, and this is literally how he talks. Oh, I don't know. It was a 3-hour class, one of those extremely long 3-hour classes. And the professor, at the very end of the class, we had this heated dialogue for the whole time. At the end of the class, his end answer was, oh, I don't know. That's literally how he talks. Oh, I don't know. So that I really was inspired by that though, because it was this was a mentor of mine, and the class was that's where it sparked where I've had this passion, but I got to do something about this. I got to take action now. So that class was called Financial Management. The nickname was FinMan. That's the nickname. So that's the first part of the name. The second part of the name comes from the fact that whenever it comes to money, it's a dark subject. I actually knew this growing up. Going back to when I was that 8-year-old kid and going through middle school and high school, I just remember my dad's a really smart guy. He has a PhD in computer science, but he wasn't always the best at handling money. So whenever he heard something that he knew that he wasn't doing right, instead of actually looking at the book I would show him or watch the show that was on TV, he would just run out of the room. Literally just run out of the room. Just ignore the problem. And then I saw this again when I was in college. A lot of my friends are student loan debt and all this other stuff and money. They didn't want to talk about it. It's a dark subject. So I knew that, money is a dark subject, and how do you break in the darkness? Well, with light. I'm a very energetic, positive person, and I wanted something that kind of reflected myself in the name, but also to break that barrier of darkness. And what's better than a mango? It's the most popular fruit in the world. It's colorful, it feels energetic, and it tastes really, really good. It's my favorite fruit. So anyways, so FinMan plus mango is FinMango, or FinMango. So that's where the name came from. FinMango originally started right after grad school. I launched it in November 2016. And it was launched in where I'm from, which is in Ohio, pretty much like the middle of nowhere in America. But it was in Canton, Ohio, an inner city. It was also an organization called the GRC. And I was just so humbled. It was really cool to finally take action, get in the school, get back in my community. And I'm going to be honest, brutally honest. I never thought I would actually expand this outside of Ohio, even outside of Canton, Ohio, my own city. And then something really crazy happened. During that same time, in November of 2016, there was this country, there was this organization that contacted us from Africa. They said they were from Togo. Again, I'm going to be honest, I had no idea where Togo was. So I went ahead and looked it up on Google Maps, and I found out it's this tiny little country in West Africa. So I went ahead and decided to take the call. Again, I'm going to be honest again. I thought it was going to be like a Nigerian prince scam type of thing. Just wanted to take the call just kind of for the fun of it. So I took the call expecting to be something crazy and silly, but it ended up being something way more serious. It ended up being an organization that was really amazing, a grassroots organization that was doing absolutely extraordinary work. They were bringing in, they were truly empowering this community. They bring in education. They didn't have restrooms, they brought in restrooms. They were increasing incomes in the community. They were making a huge difference. And why did they contact us? Well, they understood that the community was empowered, but the money was going through the women, and there was two issues. Number one, they didn't have a secure place to keep their money. Number two, they didn't know what to do with the money. So that's why they looked us up. And here's what's really, really crazy. The way they found us was by looking up financial education, and get this, in the city called Mango, which is in northern Togo. So that's how they found us. And now this gets to what's really something I really got from that conversation as well, was that poverty in general is a big, giant puzzle. It's huge. And this puzzle takes so many pieces to solve. So many pieces. A good example of that organization, they're bringing in all these different pieces, but they realized that financial literacy was a key piece to that puzzle. So that's a huge component, and that's, it's kind of humbling because, it's just one small piece because the puzzle is huge, but it's also an important piece. And that's when I realized that. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and talk about what we do at FinMango. So the first thing that we do programs. Educational programs. So these are pro bono programs. We do it in America. We do 5,000 high school kids per year in Ohio and Oregon. That number keeps on growing each year. Next year, it's going to be a lot more students. And what's also crazy is that the international programs have now scaled to 13 different countries. We're not doing large scale in these countries. We're doing really small scale. We're making sure we're doing it right. All these programs are pro bono. They're for free. We make them custom because culturally, it's always different everywhere you go. We make sure that these programs are relevant to what they need, and we also do data analysis to make sure that we know how we're improving and getting better. Another thing that we also do consulting. I'm going to talk about this briefly, but consulting is just a way where we're able to generate revenue to pay for our pro bono programs. So we're partnering with financial institutions, with banks and other businesses, where we provide the same services, but they pay for it so we can pay for our pro bono programs. And then another component that we do this is actually not in the presentation, but it's called mentorship. So internally, we do a lot of mentorship. We have young professionals, we have college kids, we have high school kids, and we try to do our best to really, provide that framework where, you give people someone they can reach out to and figure out what they can do. But anyways, going back to the core product that we do now is incubators. So an incubator is kind of like a controlled, something that you can control 100%. And the only reason why we came up with this idea was the fact that through the last 2.5 years, we built up a lot of credibility with these 13 countries with educational programs. A lot of credibility. And now, as a result, we've also increased opportunities to raise money. And we did those 13 countries with ridiculously low amounts of money. We didn't need hardly any money to do it. And that built more credibility for us. But now people are wanting to give us money, so we had to do something about it. So we came up with the Incubator's idea. So the Incubator has 3 components. We have education, implementation, and evaluation. The education phase is open to a very large group. It's volunteer-based, so they have to want to come, but it's open to a large group. And these kids then kids or youth, they get to show up and it's all good. Behind the scenes, we're actually measuring different metrics, because in that phase 2, in the implementation phase, we narrowed down the selection. So the metrics we're measuring is, what's their commitment to the program? Are they late to lessons? Are they showing up? Are they missing classes? What's the teacher's recommendations? We're looking at stuff like that, and then we're also looking at a psychometric application that was developed by a graduate student at Harvard, where it identifies, not based on academic record, but based on problem-solving skills, the ability to think outside of the box. And that is so huge, because I'm going to be brutally honest, not everyone's meant to be an entrepreneur. I don't even think I'm supposed to be an entrepreneur. I think I'm just here by accident. I have some friends, and I'm sure that everybody in this room has at least one friend where you just know they know what they're doing and they know how to just do things. And those are the people that we're trying to find. So the whole goal of the program is to find these students, these kids with all this potential, all the potential in the world, but have no opportunity, and give them an opportunity. And the way we do that is, one, we do funding for a business idea, but that's really just an extension to the education. The biggest difference is mentorship. For every program, we take a lot of time to do these, but we make sure we get elite mentors, absolutely extraordinary mentors that have been there and have done that, come from nothing and it becomes something of great. And these people are mentoring these kids or these youth for hours a week. And the reason why that makes such a huge difference is, just imagine when you have a good mentor, they'll fight for you. I know I do that I got these high school kids, I call them mango seeds in FinMan. It's like, they're just so dedicated, so passionate. I'm going to do whatever I can to fight for them. I connect them with people in consulting, people in investment banking, so they can figure out at a young age what field they might want to go into or not want to go into. So that's what the long-term incubator's goal is that we're looking at the long term. Yeah, we already have metrics to see how successful it is in the short term, but what is this going to turn out 3, 5, 10, 20 years down the road? That's going to be the real story, and I'm hoping it's going to be awesome. So anyways, going now back to what we do and how we do it. So the way we do everything is through smart policy design and implementation, which is again from Harvard, and it has 6 steps. We identify a problem, we then diagnose that problem. So we find the cause, and then we find the cause of that cause, and the cause, and the cause, until we find a root cause, or several root causes. And once we find those root causes, we then go into the design phase. Now, we're not designing solutions. We're designing products that address the problem. So we're problem focused, and that's a really big deal. We're not going after solutions, we're trying to address the problem. And then we go into implementation phase, which is usually the fun phase. And while we're implementing that phase, we're monitoring. We're collecting tons of data. And while we're collecting that data, we then are able to test it and see what works and what doesn't work. And that comes refinement phase. Because we want to know if something doesn't work, we don't want to do that again. So we're continuously improving our products. We're continuously improving it nonstop. So that's just something that that's how we do the programs and after we do the programs. And then just to add a little bit of statistics to the problem that we're specifically going after is that we're going after youth unemployment and financial literacy and financial inclusion. One example, financial literacy, 2 out of 3 adults worldwide are not financially literate, according to the Standard & Poor's Financial Literacy Survey. In addition to that, 1.7 billion people lack access to financial services around the globe, and that's according to the World Bank. And then another example, as I said, just previously said, was youth unemployment. That's a big deal in America, it's a big deal in Brazil, it's a big deal everywhere. And I just want to show one example that was actually in Uganda, which we're doing a big program there. According to 400,000 youth are in the job market each year, ages 15 to 24, for only 6,000 job opportunities. So there's just not the opportunities out there. So that's why you have to try to create stuff. So let's go ahead and talk about opportunity. Let's talk about how we can identify this. So let's just imagine you're Mary, all right? So I want everybody in this room to go ahead and close your eyes. Everybody close your eyes. Yeah, I see those eyes open. Close them, close them. Hey, close those eyes. All right, so go ahead now, imagine with me. Meet Mary. Mary's this bright, energetic, social entrepreneur from Uganda. She is absolutely amazing. She has the most infectious smile you could ever imagine. She has a growing business in agriculture, and she's in need, her demand is going through the roof, and she needs to expand her farm so she can increase her revenues and meet that demand. So what does she do? She goes ahead and rickshaws her way down to the bank and asks for a loan. Well, unfortunately, she gets denied. Why? They have no information on her field. They have no information on her sector. They have no information on her region. They don't know her own credit history. So they're just not going to take the chance. That's kind of like where the ideas, where our incubator ideas try to come into play to add that opportunity. And a good example of what it can do is it can increase revenue. So when she's able to expand her farm, she's able to increase her revenue. She's able to decrease consumption on stupid stuff that we all buy, including myself, I'll admit it, even though I'm really frugal. And then she's also able to increase savings because she's increasing her income. She's also decreasing consumption on stupid stuff. And then she can also increase her future earning potential. She knows ways to invest it. She knows ways to grow her business even more, where she can make more money in the future. Also utilizing potentially the connections with that mentorship, a really key component. And what does this do? It causes a giant ripple effect at the local scale. So when Mary makes more money, she's able to provide more opportunities for education. At the very least, she can pay for education for her own kids. And on top of that, she also, since she's making more money, she has to hire people. It increases local unemployment rates. And what happens when she hires people? They start making money, they start spending money in the local community, and then other businesses start making more money. And what do? They have to hire. So it does have like a ripple effect. And what's the last part it does? It potentially increases opportunities to clean access to water and food security. So it's not just like a one product that solves everything. It's more of just like an extension to the financial literacy piece that creates more opportunities for other pieces to be successful in that big, giant puzzle of poverty. So overall, what is the whole purpose of all this? Well, the whole purpose is to build up resilience. We've all been there. I know you've been there. We get punched in the face. Sometimes you literally fall. You can decide either to stay on the ground and not get up. It'd be kind of like my dad, how he was with money. Like instead of listening, he would just run away and not learn. You can do that. Or you can get back up. You can absorb from it, adapt, and transform from those challenges. And resilience is so key. I'm going to tell you right now, I personally love failing. There's nothing better in the world than failing. Because it's almost like a test. If you take a test and you do really bad on it, some people get really crazy. They don't want to ever look at the score and stuff. Look at it and learn from it. They shouldn't be called tests. They should be called learning opportunities, in my opinion, because you just learn from it. So that's kind of like my biggest lesson is fail. I'm failing every day. FinMango fails every single day. And that's how we're getting better. We're not running from the issues. We address the problems when they come up. And that's pretty much like my presentation today. But never forget, there's nothing wrong with failing. Just make sure you get back up. Thank you.